God's good day to you wherever you happen to be. Thank you for making a little bit of time in what I'm sure is a busy day to join us here on EWTN Radio for Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. It is always, every day of this broadcast, it is your show. You drive the program with your lived experiences. I am Jerry Usher, coming to you from Pope St. John the 23rd National Seminary in Weston, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, and I am with Debbie Georgiani. Hey, Deb.
Hello, Jerry, and this is a wonderful broadcast because we're talking about something I think we can all kind of understand and relate to and maybe even appreciate on some level, but you'll see where we're going with this. Jerry, we're asking today of our listeners this question: are you a snoozer? Maybe you should explain, Jerry.
Well, I mean, we can nod off during a meeting at the office or when we're at church or when we're in a classroom, which I do occasionally here at the seminary. Don't tell anybody. But what we're really driving at today is, how do you start your day? Are you a snoozer? Do you set the alarm clock and then it rings and you go over there and you kind of punch it or push it, whatever you have to do to get it to
throw it across the room.
Delay another 9 minutes. Are you a snoozer in the morning? How do you start your day? That's really kind of the overarching topic of our program today. How do you start your day? Do you jump right up, get right into the day? Or are you a little groggy? Do you have to get a cup or two of coffee in you? Or quite literally with that snooze button, do you use that snooze button once, twice, 3 or 4 times? Let's be honest today. You know, it's a kind of a lighter conversation, but it's part of everyday life. And that's what this show is all about each and every day. 833-288-EWTN is the number to call. You can start dialing right now. Matt will get your call first, and he'll pass them over to us. 833-288-3986.
So Jerry did mention our show team. So Matt's on the phones. We have Michael at the controls, and Ace is at social media, I believe. So that's wonderful. So he'll be monitoring that. We should wave to social media groups, get going strong. So that's great. But are you a snoozer? Do you hit that snooze button 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times until it maxes out? Or do you jump out of bed and get running because the day is moving and you are so excited and you wake up refreshed and you're thinking to yourself, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And you just jump out of bed and you are off and running, taking on the day. Well, we'd like to hear from you. You don't have to completely out yourself, but let's talk about if maybe you mastered being a snoozer and you now get out of bed super early and you're just, maybe sometimes you wake up even 5 minutes earlier than the alarm clock. I do that. Your guardian angel, I like to credit maybe waking you up. But there's all angles we can cover, and you'll see where we're going with this. It does relate to your spiritual life at 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986.
I remember one time, this was many, many years, probably 30 years ago or so. I had a busy day, probably at work or whatever, and got home, it was probably, right after work, 5:30. So I'm going to lay down and take a little bit of a nap. So I did, and the alarm, I set the alarm to get up because I had some things to do, and the alarm rang, and I hit snooze, and it rang, and I hit snooze. Pretty soon, like 3 hours had passed.
Oh my goodness.
And so I just decided to, change clothes, get in my pajamas and go to bed. So, but most morning, I used to be a total snooze button user,
you did?
Many years ago. Yeah. Nowadays, I just don't have that luxury, especially here at the seminary. We get the day started quickly and got to be to places, obligations, commitments, things like that. But Take Two family, what about you? How do you get your day started? We're talking about the very, very beginning of the day. Do you even set an alarm? I know people, Debbie, who don't have to set an alarm. They're up at the same time every day. And
I just know those same people, yeah.
Well, I always think as a safeguard, I would probably do it anyway. But I'd love to hear about if there's anybody listening who doesn't. You don't even have to set an alarm. So here's the number. It's what we're talking about today. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
And forgive me, I thought it was Ace on social media. It's actually Rich Jesse. So Rich is gathering all the comments there. We got Matt on the phones and Michael on the controls, and we've got calls being screened right now. So that's wonderful. We're asking the question, are you a snoozer or do you jump out of bed? Okay? You don't even hesitate. You don't even watch the clock. You don't even rely on the clock. You're just living life to the fullest. Would you please call in? We need to hear from you. And guess what? Here's the great news. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. If you hear the sound of our voices, you are part of the Take Two family, and we need you, because this is where the laity come together, and we share our wisdom, our lived experiences, our understanding, our knowledge, our tips, our tools, anything we've got in our toolbox to help each other. Why? Because we're the body of Christ. The number to dial is 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. And if you hear a little sense of urgency in my voice, that's because we just got day one started with the Spring Spirit Drive at AM 1260 The Rock in Cleveland, Ohio. And so I've been up and running very early. I didn't have any time to hit the snooze button, Jerry. I had to jump out of bed and get going. And it's been an amazing start, and a lot of pledge drives are happening around the country. So please, when your local listening area comes to you and says it's time, it's spring, we need some funds, please give generously, and please remember EWTN. But that's Cleveland is where our dear friend Father Doug Brown, he's the chaplain there.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, be very, very generous, folks, to EWTN and your local stations. Without them, I kind of liken the stations, they're like the hardware, and the programming is kind of like a software program that you run on your computer, so we can have all of the stations in the world out there, but if they're not on the air, then you don't get any of the programming, like your show, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. That's right. So please do be generous there, and do join us here. We're talking today, we talk about the stuff of everyday life on this program, because that's what you want. You indicate it's what you want by your calls during the show, your emails outside of the show. We talk to many of you on a regular basis. So we're talking today about, are you a snoozer or not? And that means do you use the snooze alarm in the morning, or maybe you don't have to. Be quite honest, most mornings I usually hit the snooze button, but then I realize I can't sleep another 9 minutes or I'll be late. So
is yours okay? See, my snooze on the alarm is only 3 minutes. Yours is 9?
Man, that's brutal, yeah.
9's like a power nap.
It is, yeah. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. And again, it's not just about whether or not you hit the snooze button. You can let us know that. But are you eager to start the day? Are you a little bit slow to get moving in the morning? What's your morning like? How do you get into the day that the Lord has made that Debbie just talked about? 833-288-3986. We'll take your calls starting with Barb and Gladys and the others when we come back.
Prayer is a variety of forms of communication. Sometimes we simply greet one another, hi, how are you? And we say small, short prayers similarly to God. Other times we engage people in deep conversations. Other times we engage our families in family reunions and big meals. Similarly with God, we engage Him in Eucharist and deep meditation as well.
This is Life Issues with Brad Mattis, president of Life Issues Institute.
Research shows the vast majority of women who have abortions do so under pressure, coercion, or by force, but not all succumb to the pressure. Anthony Edwards is a star with the Minnesota Timberwolves basketball team. He's facing considerable backlash after messages between him and Aisha Howard, his now ex-girlfriend, were made public. Last year, she notified Edwards she was pregnant. His response, okay, LOL, get the abortion, LOL. But she refused to kill her unborn child. Aisha asked if he hated her for not having an abortion, and his response was, yes, because you bringing a child in the world that's gone be without a father. It appears putting two sentences together isn't a requirement for the NBA. Anthony, be a man and take responsibility for your daughter.
Follow us on social media at Life Issues Institute.
We are delighted that you're with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking today about, are you a snoozer or not? If you're hearing our voices, this topic applies to you. That's kind of our how we gauge the topics on this show is if you're alive and your heart is beating and you're listening. We try and pick topics that touch upon all aspects of our lives. So how do you get rolling in the morning? Do you use the snooze alarm once, twice, multiple times? Maybe you don't use it at all. Maybe you don't have to set an alarm at all. How's your morning get going? 833-288-3986. Write to your calls after I tell you about a wonderful book from EWTN Publishing. It's Forgiving as Unity with Christ, and it's subtitled A Journey for Healing Resentment and Relationships. It's by Dr. Robert Enright. He is the founder of the International Forgiveness Institute, and in this book, he invites you to travel with him down the road from alienation to forgiveness, even to possible reconciliation. His cathartic exercises will enliven your relationship with Jesus and provide a healing balm that will deepen your empathy and dispose you to forgiving others. These powerful exercises will help you understand what forgiveness actually is and why it is beneficial, including, get this, scientific studies of those who were suffering physically, psychologically, or emotionally and experienced healing. And you'll learn answers to soul-searching questions and discover things like how to embrace your littleness with the humility of a beloved child of God, the 3 R's that help complete the triangle of forgiveness and rebuild trust, and the importance of forgiveness in God's design for our joy and peace. It's publishing Forgiving as Unity with Christ, A Journey for Healing, Resentment, and Relationships by Dr. Robert Enright. Available now by Catholic. Okay, shop at EWTNRC.com.
Okay, so as promised, we'll get to Barb first. And if you'd like to join Barb and Gladys, all you have to do is dial this number, 833-288-3986, and answer the question if you're a snoozer or not. Do you get up early? You don't need an alarm clock. You get the picture. So Barb, first-time caller from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Barb. Welcome to Take Two.
Good morning. It's an honor to be on your show. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Barb.
Yes. Sure. The first thing I wanted to say is it not terrible when you set your alarm for PM when you wanted to set it for AM?
I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, just real quickly, I got to share real quickly. Debbie was talking about pledge drives. I was at a pledge drive for a Catholic radio network. This is probably 15, 18 years ago, and I did exactly that. And I got a phone call from the station manager saying, "Jerry, we're doing a pledge drive in case you want to stop by."
Oh,
and I was supposed to be there.
Did you double your pledge?
Yeah, I probably did. I was not.
Probably did.
I was pretty embarrassed there. But anyway, didn't mean to interrupt you, Barb. Go ahead.
Oh no, I love it. So I wanted to just say that I don't usually press my snooze button, but I did have a bad habit of waking up in the morning, grabbing my phone before I got out of bed, and going to social media. And I was encouraged on a couple months ago by one of my friends to say, go on, if you feel like you just want to grab your phone and kind of wake up slowly, grab your phone and read the homilies on the EWTN. So every morning I do that, and what an amazing way to wake up and do the readings for the day and pray and just get my mind set straight before I even get out of bed. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. I love that idea. That's fabulous. Yeah. Huh?
Go ahead. No, if you got some.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I love that idea. I think it's fabulous, and it just kind of centers you and probably makes your mornings very enjoyable, right, Barb?
Absolutely, and it's waking up slowly. I'm not I don't jump out of bed with my feet running. So it's a beautiful way for me to wake up peacefully and just start my day off right with Jesus.
Well, absolutely. And it can really, for those who kind of don't like getting up in the morning, especially, this could be so important because, we can sometimes be a little bit like, oh, man, I don't want to get up. I really want to go back to sleep. But then when we redirect our focus, to something about God, something about our faith, a lot of people will use prayers for that. And Barb, you talk about using those homilies. That, how we start our day is so important to the entire day. And so what you're talking about, Barb, is just a beautiful way to get our minds and hearts in the right frame and really, have a beautiful day. Hopefully spending the whole day in God's presence and in prayer. So I love it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it is very convenient just having it right there on my phone, going to your site, and I love it. So thank you so much for taking my call.
Well, thank you for being
calling.
A first-time caller. Will you call us again sometime?
I will definitely try to do that. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks,
Have a
Barb.
great
All right.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Barb. That was a great call.
Yeah, and for those of you who have the alarm app on your phone, but not the EWTN app, come on now, go download it.
Come
go
on
to your
now.
app store. It's EWTN is everywhere, and what
Yes.
you're going to find on that app, it's so robust. We could talk the rest of the show about it. We're not going to, but it's got everything: TV, radio, prayers, devotions, mass, on demand. It's got so much stuff, folks. Download that free EWTN app and get it on your devices.
Before we get to Gladys, how about we do this? Let's open up the discussion a little bit more, Jerry. What do you say?
Sure.
Okay. What about this? Have you ever done this? You talked about setting and you and Barb talked about setting the alarm for, PM instead of AM. Okay. What about this? Have you ever hit the snooze button and when you had a very important appointment and you ended up oversleeping? I mean, you ended up not making the appointment, obviously, because you overslept, and then you just said, okay, forget it, and you turned off the alarm and just slept the rest of the day. You ever did that? I've done that one time.
Oh yeah.
One time, and I woke up at like 3 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like so bummed out that I missed the.
Your
But
body must have needed the rest.
That was just going to say, maybe there's times when the body just needs that rest. Has that ever happened to anybody? Or how about this? Sometimes you hear alarms going off in your head while you're sleeping when you have an important appointment the next day, and you'll hear the alarms going off in your head ahead of time. Have you ever had that? There's all sorts of things, the psychological things that happen when we're trying to rest. So if you have something to say about this, or a different angle, or something like that, or a funny story, or maybe even a story that's real serious, dial in. Gladys is up next, and we want to make sure we give the number 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. Gladys in North Dakota on our dear friends at Real Presence Radio. Gladys, take it away.
Okay. I usually get up right away when the alarm goes off. I a lot of times wake up before the alarm goes off, and I just kind of lay in bed and say my prayers. And then I get up and get ready, and I start my day usually in Adoration Chapel before Mass.
Oh,
I just like to sit there with God and pray and do my prayers there, and then go to Mass. And, yeah, my day just goes way better just starting it that way.
But similar to Barb, right? You're giving God the first fruits. You're giving God the best of you in the morning. You're focusing on God. So it's setting the stage, setting the tone, setting the pace for your day, right?
Right. Yeah.
I love that.
How long have you been doing this, Gladys? Because it sounds like you have a really beautiful routine that just really connects you closely to the Lord for the entire day. Have you always done this, or how long have you been doing this practice?
I've been doing that for quite a few years already.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how long it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
for probably 5-6 years maybe, or longer than that even. You know,
that's fantastic.
I just found that it's way better starting my day that way in adoration. And
It sure is. And for those, go ahead, Gladys, please.
I was just going to say, I've just kind of, way back, I was married to a guy that was alcoholic, and prayed for him a lot, and I think that's kind of when I started doing this, praying for him, and then I started spending time in the Adoration Chapel. So that's just, I find now that my day starts way better this way than spending it with God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Beautiful it is.
Well, Gladys, you probably listen to the show. We're a praying family, the Take Two family. So maybe the next time, perhaps tomorrow morning, if you find yourself in that adoration and going to Mass, would you lift up the show and the Take Two family around the world? We'd appreciate that if you would.
I sure will.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful call.
Yeah.
Oh, I love our Take Two family. You guys are amazing. So if you want to, how about this? Are you an early riser or a night owl? What are you? What are you?
I'm definitely not a night owl anymore. No.
Are you trying to say you're getting older? Is that it?
Well, I'm getting older, plus they keep us busy here at the seminary. So, yeah, I usually like to get this, I'm just going to admit it to the whole world. I like to be in bed by about 8. I don't go to sleep right away. I usually listen to worship music or some things on EWTN's, app, or some other, YouTube talks, Bishop Barron, people like that. So, I'm usually asleep by 9:30, but, we're up early and get rolling. So,
what's up early? 5?
No, about it depends on what we have. Some mornings we have mass at 7, other days it's 7:45. Some days morning prayer at 7:30. So, but I'm not up at the last minute either.
Right. So you still that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good night's rest. Boy, that's like 8 hours.
I usually get
Wow.
I've sleeping better at the seminary than I have in decades. I don't know why, but
well, you're centered around all the seminarians are doing are focusing on God, getting closer to God, like St. Thomas Aquinas says. So it must have some benefit to it. That's awesome. Okay, so there's open phone lines for you if you'd like to weigh in on this. Night owl, early riser, snoozer, jump out of bed, hit the ground running. Which is it? We'd love to hear. 833-288-EWTN. 833-288-3986. And since this morning I've been focusing on Our Lady on the Feast of the Annunciation. I mean, her saying yes changed everything for us.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful feast day. Yeah, we had a glorious Mass this morning, solemn Mass, here at the seminary. Yeah, so folks, get to Mass today if you get a chance. It's not a holy day of obligation, but, we should honor, as Debbie said, the one whose yes changed the entire world, and it changed our lives as well. We owe so much to our Blessed Mother for her yes, her obedience, her selflessness to her son, Jesus Christ. So get to Mass if you get a chance today. But again, we're talking about how do you start your day? Do you have an opportunity? Let me ask you this. Do you have the opportunity, like Barb and Gladys, to give God the first fruits, as Debbie just mentioned a minute ago? Do you take that time in the morning? Or are you kind of rushed because maybe you get up at the last minute? 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. How do you get your morning started? Share it with us, because we always say on the show, what you have to share is going to change lives, and who knows? Yeah, change the world. Could save a soul who's listening right now. 833-288-3986.
I have to tell you, since I was a little child, I was the one in the family. There's 6 kids, and then, of course, my parents, mom and dad. And I was the one that loved to sleep. I was like I just loved to sleep. I never wanted to get up. I just always wanted to sleep. And it was very interesting. I remember my parents, I don't even think they bothered having an alarm clock when I was younger. They just, would, knock on the door. Get up.
Right.
You're sleeping too long. Get up. But I don't know. Were you a good sleeper when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember so many days, Mom coming down the hall doing exactly what you just described. Get up. You're going to be late for school, And I don't know if we used alarms back then or not.
Did we have alarms back then?
Maybe Mom was my alarm clock. I don't know.
That's true. Dorothy was the alarm clock, yes, and so was Connie. Okay, so we want to ask you about just some of the habits, because as you can see by our first 2 callers, Barb and Gladys, it definitely was brought right into our spiritual lives, and it's very important. And we learn from each other. That's how the body of Christ grows together. And so, do you give your first thoughts to the Lord? Do you have do you say the guardian angel prayer in the morning as soon as you wake up to remind yourself that you have this unique guardian angel beside you? Do you do all these things in the beginning to kind of set the stage for the day? Or do you just mindlessly just jump out of bed and start, racing through the day like most people do? Because usually that's when people have not such a great day. They things happen and then they just feel out of sorts, a little agitated. Does that ever happen to you? Well, maybe if you listen to Barb and you listen to Gladys, you'll realize that starting the day focusing on God is really the best way.
833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. And before we take a quick pause here and then get to more of your calls with Carrie in Illinois, I wanted to say a quick hello here, Debbie. I was sharing with you and our producer Michael off the air before the show that on Sundays we have a mass at 9:30 and then a brunch. Following that, we had 2 meals on Sundays here at the seminary. One of them is brunch. And this past Sunday, we had a group of knights and dames of the Holy Sepulchre. And they were with us, about 40 of them, for Mass, and then they stayed for the brunch. And I had the great blessing of sitting with Jane and Patricia, who listened to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Wow,
so Jane or
thank you.
Patricia, if you're listening right now, Patricia had hip replacement, so please keep her in your prayers. She's getting better. But it was just such a joy to be with you, wonderful, beautiful ladies. So thank you so much for gracing our seminary campus with your presence for Mass and brunch on Sunday, and hope that you enjoyed the talk by Monsignor Fay after the brunch. So Jane and Patricia, hello to you if you're listening today.
Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yes, thank you. And then here's one for you, Jerry. I don't know if I told you this. So I did the women's Lenten mission retreat at St. Mary's and St. Juan Diego in Chandler, Arizona. You know Father Dan McBride very well. Father Dan McBride does a great job as pastor. Anyway, and there were part-time residents in from Real Presence Radio area. So they said hello.
Nice. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We're going to get to more of your calls. Are you a snoozer? How do you start your day? 833-288-3986. Join us.
The month of March is devoted to honoring Saint Joseph. Since Saint Joseph was the foster father of Jesus, he was continually working for his family, the Holy Family, providing for them and protecting them. Saint Joseph is the patron saint of the Universal Church, unborn babies, families, fathers, those seeking employment, realtors, and a happy death. Join in this devotion to Saint Joseph with novenas, prayers, art, books, gifts, rosaries and chaplets, statues and nativity sets. Available at EWTNRC.com.
Hi, we're Greg and Jennifer Willits, founders of RosaryArmy.com.
You probably have people asking for your prayers.
This happens to us all the time, and I always want to pray for people, but I worry I'll forget to do so.
The Rosary is so great in this way, in its ability to unlock the power of intercession for others.
By praying the Rosary, we can lift up the sick, the dying, and the souls in purgatory to God and ask for His mercy and grace.
The Rosary can help us to be more compassionate, to be more in tune with the needs of others, and to be more faithful in our prayers for their intentions.
And whenever we pray the Rosary, we can add the prayer that we offer up this Rosary for all those who have asked for our prayers.
Even if you can't remember their name.
It's just an amazing way to cover the world in prayer.
Join us at RosaryArmy.com to learn more about the Rosary's ability to intercede for others and how it can help you grow in compassion and faithfulness in your prayer life.
And learn more about the Rosary by visiting RosaryArmy.com.
Do you have a family member who is struggling with their Catholic faith? We want to help. Here on Call to Communion, coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Do you hit the snooze button on your alarm clock? That's the question we're asking today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're going to get to Carrie next in Illinois, but Carrie, don't go anywhere. I want to do a big shout out and congratulations going out to another great EWTN radio partner, Catholic Radio in South Carolina with 10 signals serving South Carolina is celebrating 21 years with EWTN. Congratulations to Michael Brennan and his team at Catholic Radio in South Carolina from your friends here at EWTN.
Yeah, way to go, you guys.
21 years, that's a long time.
I love these milestones. Yeah, absolutely. All right, 833-288-3986. Describe a little bit about your morning routine. Are you eager to start the day? You just hit that alarm clock goes off, and before you can even shut it off, you're out of bed? Or do you snooze it a couple times? 833-288-3986. As promised, Carrie is in Odell, Illinois, listening on Catholic Spirit Radio. Hi, Carrie. Welcome.
Hi.
Good to have you with us.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. Go right ahead.
So I am 45 years old. I have 5 kids, and I just kind of wanted to call in and explain what I do in the morning. I do not hit the snooze. I can't, okay? I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I start my morning with coffee and the morning offering and the Liturgy of the Hours. I started doing that a couple years back.
Great.
And then I get on my treadmill and walk 2 miles because with kids, I used to think if you slept in and you got more sleep, you would, you'd be better as a mom, and it's not true.
Right.
I need for myself to be like hitting the day, and this Lent I started before I turn on like a YouTube channel when I'm on the treadmill. I do a divine chaplet, and for the people that I have forgiven, but every day you have to re-forgive. I think
right. Perpetual forgiving. Yes.
Yeah. And so I also I tell some of the ladies I work with at the school I teach at how important it is to fast for your kids. So I started that last Lent. Every day is a fast for one of my 5 kids. Wow. And I just have to say to moms out there, like, getting your day started before the kids and then dedicating a day to each of your kids it changed me as a mom. I'm more patient. The adult kids I have, I feel closer to in a way that I just almost can't even put words to. They might be struggling when they go off to work, and I'm not there to get them ready, but I have Mondays for my first one, and I know that I feel closer to them. It has literally changed our family to not sleep in, to get up, to get going. It's almost like I can't even tell people the graces.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Well, you did a beautiful job of it, I think.
I was just going to say, I was saying, Jerry took the words out of my mouth. But real quickly, I know Jerry and we kind of perked up. And when you said, did you say you fast for each of the children? And do you request or have an intention for each child? Do the children know that you do that? Can you give us a little more details? Because that is fascinating.
Yeah. Each of the kids know what day is theirs.
Oh, okay.
And so, and it goes in order of the ages. My 22-year-old knows that he has Mondays, and I just offered up for his intentions. My 19-year-old's away at college. He has Tuesdays. I'll send him a message, hey, today's your day. And Wednesdays for my 16-year-old daughter. And the older ones get it. And I don't know that they've noticed how much it's helped our relationship. Because as you get older, they're like, Mom, you're not the same kind of mom as you were before. No, I'm not.
Right.
I don't know. Living for other people is a whole lot better than living for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for your kids, kids are on loan from God. They are our, quote, our kids. When we have children. But the most important thing we can do, obviously, and Carrie, you get this, and I know most, hopefully, all of the Take Two family who are parents get this. The key, the number one thing is getting them to heaven, and you can do all of the teaching of the faith and taking them to Mass and the sacraments and all of that. But you've added in that element of sacrifice, Carrie, that the selflessness there, and God's grace is unleashed when we do things like that. Debbie is really big on fasting, so am I, and I'm glad that your kids know that, because then they can be kind of on the lookout as their day goes along, like, wow, I'm experiencing a lot of graces, a lot of blessings today. It could very well be because what Mom is doing, sacrificing for me.
Well, that's what I was thinking. When you said you were feeling especially close to the older children, I'm thinking, well, the graces are flowing from the fasting that you're doing. I love that you have 5 kids, so there's 5 weekdays. So you've got, each one's got. So I'm assuming that the little one's got Friday.
They do. They have and they definitely don't get it yet. But Someday they will.
Oh yeah, well the graces are being built up, so you're doing great. That is fascinating. I have to tell you, that's one of the I've never thought of that. I just never have thought of it like that, and I actually put it down. If you don't mind, I plan on using it in the next coaching session that I'm doing, because I think that definitely will bring forth relationship building and graces. Carrie, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for taking my call. Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah,
you
God
too.
bless you.
Wow, what a great call. We've had all great calls. We always get great calls.
Well,
it's rare. It's rare. Everybody really thinks out and, plans and has time and comes on air and really shares some profound things with our Take Two family.
And it's very rare, but occasionally somebody will say, well, when they hear the topics of our show, they'll say, well, what does that have to do with faith? How does that tie into the spiritual life? Our callers are the ones who exhibit that. Each and every caller we've had on the air today shows, that it is important how you start your day, whether you hit the snooze alarm or not. There's nothing wrong with that. If you hit the snooze alarm once or twice, sometimes you can, say I got to be up at X time, so I'm going to set my alarm for 20 minutes before that.
Right.
And chances are you may get up right away. Otherwise, if you hit the snooze a couple times, you've got that luxury built in there. So.
Yeah, no, we always manage to weave it into our spiritual lives, and we come out a little bit changed, hopefully a little bit closer to God. Leo in Massachusetts is waiting so patiently on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Leo. Welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing well. Thank you so much. You go right ahead, sir.
So I usually get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Not that I have to, but I do it because I just like to beat the traffic on the way into town. And so I usually, if I wake up earlier than 3 o'clock, I just get up because I was told a long time ago, if you wake up, you might as well just get up. Don't just laying there staring at the wall. But anyways, when I'm driving into work, I say my rosary, and I pray to Jesus and the Blessed Mother. I pray to Jesus for the pain and sufferings that he endured on that cross for our sins. And then I also pray for the Blessed Mother for the pains and sufferings that she endured because of the crucifixion of her Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. And then I say 3 Hail Marys. By the time I do that, I'm at work.
Wow! So you get in all your prayer time as you're driving to work. I love that.
I do. Mm-hmm. And it makes my day. It makes me just happy. I pray that I have a great day and a nice day, everybody, and I feel good.
Yeah, absolutely, Leo. And you're just another example of giving God, the first part of our day. Mm-hmm. And, so many times, and I've been in this place in my own life where I'd say, I just don't have time to fit in, prayer or a rosary or what have you. But, we really can do it if we want to badly enough. And I've got to say, not every day is just going to be perfect. Like yesterday, most days I do a holy hour. Yesterday, I had planned it for a certain time. Something came up a little bit later, and I just didn't get my holy hour done, during the day. I did some prayers in bed at night, but, even if we miss once in a while, if we are disciplined enough and make it a priority high enough, Leo, what do you think? That I think we can do that. We can give God a very productive part of our day.
That's true.
Absolutely. Prayer moves mountains.
Yeah. Well, and since you do this all while you're driving, Leo, does that make you kind of a little bit more maybe calm or peaceful because I'm sure there's going to be when you're going to be in traffic sometimes. Yeah, absolutely.
So I have like zero traffic unless there's a bad accident on the road.
Sure. Yeah,
well, Leo, I have to say you do sound very chill, which is so cool. Yeah, you sound like really just balanced and just chill. And I think that does, the fact that you do carry this same routine every single morning and it's working for you. So, wow, way to go.
Yep. Well, thank you. And thank you for everything you do and all the people that you talk with. I listen to you every day.
Thanks. Thank you, Leo. God bless. Be safe out there driving. And Thank you for the thoughts and the kind words. We appreciate it. 833-288-EWTN. We still got time to get you into the conversation. 833-288-3986. Our topic today is one that touches really upon every one of our lives, whether we're old, young, working, retired, what have you. You know, how your day gets off to a good start. How do you do that? How do you start your day? Really kind of playfully titled the show, Are You a Snoozer? Do you hit the snooze alarm in the morning, you know, or do you just jump right out of bed, maybe even without an alarm? Share with us a little bit about your routine, because as always, there are people listening who are going to go, aha, you know, the light bulb's going to go off, and people can even change their own routines based on something that a caller shares on the show.
Well, here's confirmation to that what you were just saying right there. Carrie's call from Odell, Illinois on Catholic Spirit Radio. Carrie's call about her 5 kids and fasting for each one already sparked a few messages coming in, Carrie. So the Take Two family loves the idea, and they're going to start using it in their families and really making good spiritual use and benefit for everyone. See, so this is how we learn and grow. And, you know, going back to what you said, Jerry, I thought this was really interesting when you brought this up, but because I remember going around to different affiliates, and the listeners loved Take Two because, you know, they're able to talk and impart things and give their testimonies and things that are very important to them about relationships and prayer. And I remember one time being at a station and this wonderful person that was working there said to me, you know, I really love Take Two. You know, you sometimes deal with these topics that really don't, you know, nobody thinks about and they don't matter that much. And in my head, you know, kind of whipped around real fast. And I said, wait a minute, you're missing the whole point of it. Yeah. The whole reason we do topics like this is to get people to start conversing and start sharing. And then as you see that just unfolded with Carrie's call, it goes so deep. And that's the Holy Spirit. And it's unfortunate that we don't appreciate that kind of community as much anymore. And especially with the COVID interruption, Jerry, we lost a lot of that. There used to be people that hung out at the water cooler and chit-chatted. We don't do that anymore. We barely talk to each other. So Take Two's topics are actually very profound.
Well, this is kind of your on-the-air water cooler, or however you want to look at it. The coffee shop, you know, wherever you gather with your friends, maybe on social media, maybe on a Zoom call, what have you. But, yeah, so please enter into this conversation at 833-288-3986. How do you start your day? Are you a snoozer, or do you not even need to go back to? Maybe you're just so excited to start the day that you just jump right out of bed. And do you have a morning routine? You know, devotionals, prayers, getting the kids ready. Maybe you're retired. Maybe you got grandkids. So how do you start your day? Your daily routine. 833-288-3986. And before we go back to the calls, I want to just remind you of Catholic Answers Live, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Today, it's 2 hours of Ask Me Anything with Mark Brumley and Tom Nash on, I'm sure, what is one of your favorite shows, along with Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. That is Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Time here on most of these EWTN stations.
How about this one? Do you ever, like, some days you wake up and you're like, oh, Lord, I'm alive. Or some days you wake up and you're like, oh, another day.
You know what I say? First thing in the morning when I wake up, I say, good morning, Abba.
Oh,
good morning, Abba.
I love that.
Yeah, I greet the Father with and then I have this litany that I do as I'm, you know, showering or brushing my teeth. It's this long litany of saints that I pray to. I've been doing that for like 40 years.
I love litanies.
You know what's interesting? I love when their feast day comes up on the calendar.
Yes.
And I say, wow, hey, Saint so-and-so, I've been praying to you for 40 years every day. So
you're my friend.
Yeah.
It's true. Look at the Take Two family go. We almost have full phone lines again. You guys crack me up. Okay, Pamela in Coldwater, Michigan, listening on Alexa. You're up next. Hi, Pamela.
Hi. This is my first time calling in.
Oh,
welcome.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Oh, I listen to you guys all the time.
Oh,
I love it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
Well, I've noticed a big difference. I used to get up early, 6 o'clock, and watch the news. I won't tell you the station, TV station, and I've changed that when Lent started. I just started getting up and going to my quiet place in my room, listening to or reading the gospel, spending some time in prayer, meditation. It just makes my day just much better. And it's just, hopefully it's going to be a habit, not just for this Lent, but for life. And I don't set an alarm clock because I'm retired. And I just love getting up in the morning and having a quiet time.
That's beautiful.
So,
there's a reason we call it the good news, and that is you're consuming good news, Pamela, instead of, there is a lot of bad news out there on the news. And let's face it, the world is a challenging, difficult place to live right now. So any news that we're going to watch is going to be a little bit of a drag, kind of bring us down a little bit. But, you've chosen to take a little bit of a different path. I mean, not just a little bit of a different path, a huge different path in the morning. And that is, I'm sure it's going to be life-changing for you, Pamela. What do you think, Deb?
Oh, I agree, and I'm hoping that my Lenten disciplines become a lifetime too. I gave up a lot of. I used to be a news junkie, going to the news all the time, Pamela. I mean, all different sources, and it was really interesting. My husband had the news on the other night, and I fell asleep. I was so tired because we're in the middle of pledge drive season and all that, and I was so tired I fell asleep on the couch, and I was so agitated, and I realized because I hadn't heard the news in so many days, and so my body was reacting to the negative stuff that was being communicated on that news channel, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm right with you. I hope and pray that so many of these good and virtuous habits that we have all entered into, especially during this Lenten season, they do stick and they stay for a lifetime, because I mean the goal is to get to heaven. And the way we find the best way to do it is to really practice each day and really work towards that. Well, that requires new habits. So these are new habits for us. I hope it stays for you too, Pamela.
I do too, and I welcome anybody to try it. Once you get used to the silence, you'll love it. Instead of hearing the arguing on the TV or whatever.
I agree. I so agree. Oh, I'm right with you. I love the silence. Okay. It's so funny because when you are hooked on the news, it's hard to be in a silent environment. But now that everything's calm, you long for the silence, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you see so much more. You hear more from the Holy Spirit. I mean, you're more open.
Right. That's what I meant. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You seek out the silence because you're going to receive a word. Yeah. Well said, Pamela. You're awesome. I love this. I could talk to you forever. Wow.
Thanks, Pamela.
Up the good work. I love your show.
Oh, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. We love you too. Thank you.
Let's be honest. There are so many ways to get news nowadays. Not knocking anybody who watches, the newscasts and all of that. But I've got a TV in my room here at the seminary, and I turned it on one time just to see if it was working, see if it was plugged in.
Is it working?
And it hasn't been on. Yeah, it works, but it hasn't been on since then. There's just really not a lot of time for that. But still, I get notifications from social media on my phone and things like that about important news things that are going on. And so, you can get your news from so many different sources nowadays that I think what Pamela was talking about, moving away from maybe that consuming the news first thing in the morning to doing something spiritual is really gonna, she's not gonna miss out on the news headlines. So let's just put it that way.
Right. Okay, so let's hear what John has to say in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on the EWTN app. Hi, John. Welcome.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. You go right ahead. Go right ahead. Tell us your prayer routine.
I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and first thing I do, I drop and do 50 push-ups, and then to kind of get the blood flowing in my body, get me rolling, and then I head into the restroom there and grab my prayer book that I got from the Malvern Retreat Center and do prayers in there. Multiple prayers, and then grab my Magnificat for the morning prayer and the daily readings. So I do that every night, every day, before I wake up my 10-year-old son. I'm an old daddy, so I'm 58, and I have a 10-year-old, and so I got to wake him up at 6 to go to school and that, so get him ready then. Yeah, that's how I kind of start off my day here. And it's been wonderful. I've been doing this for about 20 years now, and it's been a blessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great routine. I will tell you, though, I'm just going to go back to the beginning where you said you jump out of bed and you do, 50 push-ups? And it's so interesting that you said that, John, because when I was at my yearly exam at my doctor's office, she was telling me this story that there's been so many more, tests. You know how doctors and they review stuff, and they were talking about what's the best thing to do in the morning, and they were saying that indeed some form of exercise or stretching in the morning is really good, and a glass of water, a full glass of water, as soon as you wake up. That's what she was telling me, and I just find that interesting. And I was thinking as you said that you quickly do that, and then you go into prayer, and then you wake up your son and everything. The stuff that we do to prepare ourselves for the day, I think really centers the mind, the body, and of course, the spirit. And so when we get in that position, we're ready. We feel the strength. And I'm sure when you're doing the push-ups, you can already feel that strength. So you know that you're going to be going up against things in the world during the day, right? But you have that burst of energy. See, I think that's really good. I think that's a recipe for success, John. Way to go.
And it does help. You're absolutely right what you're saying. And then Jerry mentioned about, people saying that they don't have time to do prayers, and, especially the rosary. And you can. I do a rosary. As soon as he gets done, gets on the bus, I say my joyful mystery. And then midday, I say the luminous mystery. Then my alarm is set at 3 o'clock to do the sorrowful mysteries after my divine mercy. Nice. And then at night, I do the glorious mystery. So you can find the time to do that. And then as I'm driving, as I'm seeing customers, that's when I sometimes will have to do the rosary. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're pointing out, John, there is a way to work these things all into our lives, as busy as we might be and as limited as we might think that we are on time. I do the same thing with my rosary. If I have to run errands or anything during the day, I'll pray it then. Otherwise, I've got a little bit of time before Mass in the morning. I'll get a couple decades prayed. Maybe a few minutes before evening prayer, I'll get a couple decades prayed and maybe finish it before I go to bed. So, if we just make these things a priority, which you have done, John, and I love the fact that, as Debbie said, it's, mind, body, spirit, we're these composite beings, and you're attending to all of those areas, and that's got to make life hopefully go a little bit better for you, John.
And I think it's a good role model for his son too. Does your son see your routine?
Yes, he does. When he hears that alarm go off, he goes, "Dad, it's your prayer time and stuff." And then he goes.
Nice.
Once a month, he goes to confessions with me once a month. Every Sunday, he goes to Mass with me. So yes, he sees that, and I think this is the most important thing I could do for you.
Yes. Amen.
It is. Absolutely it is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful, John. Have a blessed day, all right? And call us again sometime. Will you do that for us?
It works, what you guys do. And Julie, I just want to say, you say Lancaster, not Lancaster, okay?
Lancaster. Okay. I got it, John. Thank you. Believe me, I'm getting a good lesson in city pronunciations being here in the Boston area.
Oh, yes.
Because, there's Chelmsford, which looks like Chelmsford, and Reading, and Needham, and gosh, there's a bunch of other ones that are...
Well, we learned all those cities, remember, when we were doing the Station of the Cross pledge drives, right?
Right.
Yeah, Gina used to give us all the pronunciations. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so Angela driving through Maryland, drive safely. Adele in Oklahoma City, please, both of you, if you want to call back during the unscripted, we have an unscripted at the end of the month, and you just let Matt know that you were on the line for this particular episode, and he will push you to the front of the line. That's the least we could do.
Yeah, I just want to give a quick plug here. We've got a discernment retreat coming up this week at Pope St. John the 23rd National Seminary near Boston. I'm just telling you that I'm not asking you to sign up for it, but I'm just saying we have guys who are interested in the priesthood who are a little bit older. This seminary is for like second career vocations. So if there's any men out there listening who think that your opportunity has passed you by, log on to psjs.edu and give us a call. Until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day.
Are you up against a problem? Are you feeling stuck and unable to see your way out? You just might need a fresh perspective, and that is what life coaching is all about. Sticking to a plan and creating new habits for a better life, all with God at the center. At StandTallToday.com, we have a team of life coaches ready to help you get excited about life again. You can learn more at StandTallToday.com. That's StandTallToday.com.